How would you like to crush your anxiety? I mean, literally feel better before you go to bed tonight, and in a few weeks, have it evaporate like the morning dew. That would be amazing, right? Well, we can absolutely positively do that for you. But here's your first tip. Here's the first thing that you have to do, and you absolutely have to do this. You got to watch the video all the way to the end. Now, I don't know if this is going to be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or 6 hours. I don't care. To help you for free, have spent 12 years of my life getting 4 different degrees. I've spent over $100,000 in education and expenses, and I spent another 30 years researching it. If you can't get through a simple YouTube video, yeah, you've got anxiety, and you probably will for life. Don't do this to yourself. Second tip, stop it. When you hear negative thoughts, anxious thoughts in your mind, you got to learn how to do something called thought stoppage or thought interruption. There was a really funny place. It was on Mad TV. It was done, maybe back in the 90s, early 2000s. Funny as hell with Bob Newhart. And he does a skit on this, and it's beautiful. You'll roll in the aisles laughing. That alone will make you feel better. I'll put a link for it in the description below so you can see it. And you'll laugh about it, but then you'll realize this technique, this stop it technique, actually works. I mean, it's a serious technique that they made into a funny skit, but it really works. And I've used this and shown this skit, this funny sketch, to clients that I work with, and it made a tremendous difference for them. So that's strategy number 1. You got to get in there and you got to start fighting your anxiety. See, most people are going with their anxiety. They're empowering their anxiety, and they don't even know they're doing it. More on that later. Now, the very next thing I'm going to teach you is exactly how metacognition, that's how you think about your thoughts, and how anxiety works. Because until you understand what something is, it's very difficult to beat it. So let's jump right into that. So what is metacognition? It's a form of insanity, and only humans have it. Humans are the only animals that sit around thinking about their thinking. So, your wife comes in the room. She says, "Do I look fat in these jeans?" Do you think a squirrel worries about if they look fat in their jeans? And then they think, God, I wonder if I should ask my husband that question because then he might think I'm vain. That's you thinking about your thinking. And then you think about it some more, and you think about it some more, and you think about it some more. See, you have a brain inside your head, and you have this personality that you call you, and you think it's one thing. No, it's thousands of things. That's what metacognition is. If I were to make a graphic of this, I'd draw a picture of your brain, and then I'd slice it like a chessboard into hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different sections. You know what those different sections are? They're all different personality traits that are you, and many of them are contradictory. There's one part of you that wants to charge out, get out there, change the world, make $1 million, help as many people as you can, and have this life second to none. There's another part of you that's completely and utterly lazy, is not ambitious, just wants to roll on the couch and find the sweetest, stickiest thing it can shove into its body, and you don't care how fat you get. Now, how can both sides of that be true? Because of metacognition. You have different sections, different parts of your brain, and they constantly battle each other. I want to go to the gym. I stay in pretty good shape. Look, nice. How do I get in good shape? One part of me can't stand going to the gym. I don't want to go there and spend the money and the gas and the time just to sit there and sweat and torture and feel pain for 2 hours. But another stronger part of me, that part of my brain speaks up and it says, Paul, don't be a damn wuss. Get off your lazy butt. Go to the gym. Otherwise, you're going to be fat and lazy. You're going to die young. You're going to look terrible. You're going to start having health conditions and you're going to have to blame yourself because you did cause it. So I'd go to the gym. But it's an interplay. What decides whether or not I go to the gym? Correct answer? It's the part of my brain that I listen to. One part of my brain says, don't go to the gym. And I say, stop it. Shut up. Shut the hell up. That's what you got to say to your anxiety. Shut the hell up. You listen to your anxiety. You let it roll. You let it talk to you. You let it keep going on and on and on like it's late night TV and it's doing a monologue and you're just sitting there, oh, listening, raptured. Oh, tell me more. Tell me more about how terrible my life is and give me horrible visions of all these terrible things that are going to happen to me. Yeah. I'm listening. Geez, I told you at the beginning of the video, I got to get you to listen to a 30-minute YouTube video to defeat your anxiety. But you will sit there and you will listen to your anxiety from the minute you get out of bed until the minute you fall asleep at night. And you never once tell it to shut the hell up. You should. Listen to the part of your brain that doesn't worry and fear and do all those things. It sets up a plan. That's the way to do it. And realize that there are these two parts of your mind. On another YouTube channel, I did a video about the story of the inner wolves. And there's two wolves. And there's a good wolf and there's an evil wolf. And they battle constantly in your mind for your spirit and your soul and your future and what you're going to do or not do. And the elder is telling this story of the two wolves to his son. And the son says, my God, Dad, it's like, this is this ongoing battle. Who wins? And the father says, whichever one you feed. The one you feed will grow stronger, and the one you starve will grow weaker. That's which wolf wins. You've been feeding your anxiety and feeding your discouragement, and you've been starving your encouragement. You've been feeding your negativity and starving your positivity. In a lot of ways, anxiety is as simple as that. You have a thought. Based on that thought, you have a certain feeling, and based on that feeling, you take a certain action. That's literally like the whole of psychology. So, be very careful what you think because thoughts are things. And here's the difference between you and me. Do I have anxious thoughts? Absolutely. They come into my mind, I recognize them, I see them, and then I nail them. I tell them to shut the hell up. And then I say, okay, why am I having this anxious thought, this worry? Well, there must be something that I need to pay attention to. So I say, thanks, brain, for telling me about that. I find the problem. I come up with really great solutions. I study the problem, and then I take massive action. And guess what? Little or no anxiety. When you're living in the problem, when you're living in the fear, that's anxiety. When you're taking action to destroy the thing that you're worried about or to destroy the thing that you fear, oh, that's courage. That's encouragement. And you feel fantastic. And guess what? As a side effect, the thing that you were worried about, it disappears. How cool is that? See, think about it. There's a 3-step process that should be a 2-step process. You have a problem, you worry about it, and then you solve it. Can you pick out the unnecessary step? Well, you have to have the problem, right? And you have to have the solution, right? But do you have to worry about it? Does worrying actually do anything? No. It's the unnecessary step. See it, recognize it, and eliminate it. Tell it to shut the hell up. So, there's an old A expression. When I stop living in the problem and start living in the solution, the problem disappears. Great strategy. I want you to start using that strategy. I saw a funny meme the other day on Facebook, made me laugh so hard. But it's perfect for anxiety. It says, hey, I got a devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other, and apparently I'm deaf in one ear. That's funny as hell. But that's exactly what's going on. You've got one voice that's saying, hey, you should worry about this all day long. And boy, you listen to that one. And then you got another one. It's like, that's no big deal. You got this. You can deal with this. Look at all the things you've dealt with in your life. You're going to beat it just like that once you start taking action. And you can't hear that at all. One voice is shouting and the other one's whispering. Don't always go with the loudest voice. The loudest voice tends to be the most negative. Bullies yell and shout and try to act tough and, get in your face and that type of thing. Good, kind people are very soft-spoken, very gentle, very subtle. Your brain's the same way. That good, kind, loving voice inside of you is going to talk at normal level, and that angry, difficult, anxious voice in your head is going to yell and scream and say, you better listen to me, and it's going to go on and on and on and on and on. It's going to talk in a stream of consciousness. Why? Here's an interesting piece of psychology. You have to have a thought to create a feeling. Therefore, you have to be thinking anxious thoughts constantly. The second you stop thinking anxious thoughts, boom, anxiety disappears. Gone. That's why the number one technique for anxiety is shut the hell up. Stop it. So, you do a thought pattern interruption. Realize you're having a negative thought, step 1. Step 2, interrupt it, tell it to shut the hell up, or focus on something else. They call that focus management. If you're focusing on the negative, that's what's going to be fed and that's what's going to grow in your mind. If you focus on the positive or even the neutral, that's what's going to grow in your mind. And that's what you're going to experience. Remember, every feeling that you're experienced is based on the thoughts that you're focusing on. It's literally that simple. I know it sounds brain dead, stupid, simple, but if you're thinking happy thoughts, you feel happy. If you're thinking anxious thoughts, you feel anxious. If you're having ambitious thoughts and ideas, you feel ambitious. But in each state, good, bad, or neutral, you have to keep thinking those thoughts or the thing disappears. Your anxiety is the same way. So one of the things that I want you to do is shut up. I want you to close your eyes and I want you to listen to your thoughts. Listen to your thoughts just for 2 or 3 minutes. You'll be stunned by 2 things. 1, you never shut the hell up. Nobody shuts the hell up inside their brain for anything like 2 or 3 seconds. That's it. That's the longest they can go, and the brain just has to talk. It's like a nervous Nelly that just has to say something to keep the conversation going. They can't deal with uncomfortable silences. You know why people can't deal with uncomfortable silences in conversations? Because they never do it in their head. So, listen to your thoughts. You're going to notice, number 1, never shuts up. Number 2, 9 out of 10 times, it's negative. It's worries, it's fears, it's anxieties. It's running past images of bad things that happened to yourself in the past. It's bringing up problems and worries and thinking about all the dramatized tragedy you see on the news. That's why the news is so popular. The news knows that your brain is like 10 times more attracted to negativity than it is positivity. Sorry, just is. Until what? Until you start taking control of it. How do you do that? Step 1, recognize the nature of the problem. That's why you close your eyes and you listen to it and you see the different things that your brain does, how often it does it, and the strategy it uses to make you feel anxious. Then what's the solution going to be? Do the opposite of whatever the hell your brain's doing right now. If it's worrying about a problem, start solving a problem. If it's imagining and picturing problems, picture the solution instead, or the bright future after you've solved the problem, and imagine the joy of the problem being solved. See, the reason most people live in their problems is their brain immediately goes to the negative, right? That's 90% of all thoughts. And pain, Psychology 101 says we move towards pleasure and we move away from pain. So if you're feeling massive pain, you're imagining in your mind and you're worrying and you've got anxiety and you've got fear and you've got tension about something that you need to solve, you're going to move away from solving it. If you're imagining the solution and having this problem be gone and the wonderful bright future after it, you're drawn towards and attracted towards taking action on those things. See how it works? You got to learn how to control your mind. That's what this channel is all about. People who didn't know how to control their mind because they had no training on how to control their mind, learning how to control their mind, and therefore controlling their thoughts, their feelings, their actions, and therefore their entire lives. and even being able to go out and share these tools, strategies, and techniques with other people. So let's move on to the very next strategy. Let's talk a little bit more about the nature of the beast. I want to give you a new distinction about why you have so much anxiety. Think about it. What is the function of anxiety? What is it there for? Why does it even occur in humans? Why do people worry so much? Your brain is trying to help you. It's bringing a problem into your awareness, and then one way to motivate people to do something is to give them pain. Unfortunately, that works in the short term, but doesn't work in the long term. But hey, your brain's doing the best it can. It's a dumb animal. It basically just follows your instructions, right? It's a goal-seeking mechanism. Whatever you hold in your mind, that's what your brain goes for. So your brain brings forth this worry so that you can realize you have a problem and be pained a little bit, which hopefully will motivate you to go ahead and get into the solution. But as I said, that pain, more often than not, causes you to pull away from creating the solution and going after the solution and being excited about the solution, because solution to you just now means pain. Bad system, but I didn't set it up. So what you can do is, instead of worrying, once you get the worry signal, I only need one worry signal. See, if you ring my doorbell at my house, I don't need you to ring it 4,872 times. You can ring it once, twice, 3 times, no more than that. I got the message and you don't need to ring it anymore. So take your damn finger off the button. That's what you got to tell your anxiety. Thanks for telling me. Now I know there's something, not that I need to worry about, but I need to take action towards. And then start getting out of the problem into the solution. Focus massively on the solution. Find the information. Read a book. Check with AI. Check with a friend. Contact an expert. Google things. Go look at another YouTube video. Find the solution. The minute you go from the problem to the solution, you instantly feel better. And now you got all the tools you need. Then crush this thing. Then the next time you worry about something and have anxiety about something, you'll say, hey, I know how to shut down anxiety. I know what the purpose of anxiety is. I know how to move from problem into solution. I know how to gain solutions because I'm that powerful. That's great. And that I don't have to live with these things. And that I've solved pretty much every problem I've ever had in my life, because you've had hundreds and hundreds of thousands of problems. And you say, Paul, you don't understand. I got all these problems. I bet you if I said, hey, if you could snap your fingers and make all your problems go away from a psychological perspective, go ahead and give me your top 10. You give me your top 10. I'd say, are there any more? And you might come up with 1, 2, or 3. Most people have something like, between 5 major psychological problems and a dozen. They don't have any more than that. So if that's your number, and say you're on the high end, you got 12 different psychological problems, and you're like, God, Paul, I must be an idiot. I've tried my entire life and I haven't gotten rid of this. Look at all the problems I have. You've solved over 200,000 problems in your life and you got 12 left. You call that a failure? I would redo the math on that one. I suck at math, but I'm thinking you're crushing it. You've solved 99.99999% of all your problems, and you are like 0.0001% away from being like the ultimate human being ever and solving these. And on these channels, I'm probably going to teach you how to solve all 12. So stay tuned. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you get all the new trainings. So, problem, worry, solution. Take out the unnecessary step and immediately focus on the problem. The solution to the problem. And when you're problem solving, do it in this percentage. I have a problem I have to solve. So I worried about something. I say, thanks for the signal. Then I say, how much time should I spend on the problem? Because there's 2 different kinds of problem solving areas. I spend about 10, maybe 15% really studying the problem. And then I immediately spend the other 90 to 85% of the time on the solution. So my typical, rule of thumb is don't spend more than 10 or 15% of the time studying the problem and then immediately get into the solution. And maybe even the solution isn't perfect, but if it's like 80% perfect, you're also going to learn things along the way and make new distinctions to adjust it to get that other 20%. Don't worry, it'll happen. I'd rather have an imperfect, 80% solution than be studying and studying and studying for years, trying to get everything perfect before I take one step. Somebody else would have begun solving that thing in the first 15 minutes. So the quick solution makes you feel better, free up your resources, and takes care of at least 80% of the problem. Then you got between now and when you die to get rid of the other 20%. And you know what? You can do it. Here's one of the other challenges you have with anxiety is stress accumulates over time. See, what happens is we go to, say, work, and our stress gets higher and higher and higher and higher during the day. Then we come home and we say, I'm off of work, and I watch some TV. Actually, TV doesn't budge your anxiety. Do you know that TV is meant to be so entertaining, so stimulating? Stimulating is another word for anxiety, that your anxiety levels will stay the same and probably go up while you're watching TV, while you're relaxing. So be very careful about using TV as a relaxation technique. If you sat there and you watched 6 hours of TV, you would feel more relaxed if you took a 10-minute walk around the block. If you spent 5 minutes in meditation, maybe only 2 or 3, more than 6 hours of TV, you would have so much more relaxation. So if you're spending, 90% of your day building up your stress, about 9% is neutral. You need to spend that 1%, and I mean like 15, 20 minutes a day, and just relax. Get those anxiety levels way down. Otherwise, what happens is they start stacking over time, and they get higher and higher and higher. Doing relaxation techniques lowers them, lowers them, lowers them. So it's like a gauge. We used to do a thing called the sighing technique. What you would do is you would take a big sigh and you would just feel the tension in your shoulders. If I went like, and I dropped my shoulders, I can instantly tell how much tension I was silently holding in my shoulders. And by the third or fourth time I do the sigh technique, I notice my shoulders don't really get any looser and it doesn't feel as good. Why? Because the tension that I was storing unconsciously in my shoulders, I've already knocked out 90-95% of it. And I could sit there sighing for another hour and only gain about 5%. But I'll tell you, you would be amazed what doing 3, 4, 5 sighs will do in terms of relaxing your shoulders. And think about this, interesting piece of psychology. Your brain always asks 2 questions. What does this mean? And what do I need to do about it? When you're tensing your shoulders and you see somebody really stressed and they're tensing their shoulders and they can barely turn their heads, what do you think is going on for them? That's right, they're stressed. So you have stress, and then it goes into your shoulders, and up go your shoulders, they tighten. And then your brain says, what does this mean? It means you're stressed. So what does your brain focus on? Your stress, and your stress doubles. Getting rid of it, you not only get rid of the tension in the shoulders, you get rid of the psychological tension, because now your brain says, oh, his shoulders are relaxed. What does that mean? Oh, it means he's relaxed. Good. I will help him relax. That must be what he wants, because that's what his body's doing. Learn how to de-stress every single day. Take at least 5, 10, 15 minutes, and you're going to see a dramatic change in your anxiety. I promise. Here's what I also promise you. Don't do it, and I guarantee you your anxiety is going to go up over time. It almost has to. Here's another huge stress reduction technique. Here's how you create your stress, and here's how you get rid of your stress. Gives you a deeper understanding of things, right? You create your stress by your explanatory style. Explanatory comes from the root word explain, right? It's how you explain things to yourself. If you say, hey, Paul, how's your day going? I say, well, just another day on the battlefield, Gonna deal with a few more, stinking customers. I got to get through this stinking day. Wow. Sounds stinky. Sounds bad. Another day on the battlefield? Sounds like you're going to get attacked and stabbed and beaten, and this is horrific. I would be stressed by that too. You explained your day as being this horrible thing. And remember, your brain is a dumb goal-seeking mechanism. It actually listens to what you say. And when you say just another day on the battlefield, you say, I will get right on that. I will make sure no matter what happens in your day, good, bad, or indifference, you experience it like another day on the battlefield. I'm your brain, and my only job is to make you right and to serve what you want. And what do you want? Whatever you say, whatever you think. Your brain's like the genie in the lamp. You're making wishes with your thoughts. I wish I was having another day on the battlefield. When you're worrying and you're concentrating on that, remember, whatever you focus on grows in your brain. Because your brain says, that's what they want, so I'll give them more of it. If you're focusing on relaxation or happiness, your brain would say, that's what they want. That's their goal. I will help them with that. Be very, very careful what you focus on. And explanatory style, you explain virtually everything in your life. Remember I said the brain has two functions? What does this mean? Another word for that is how do I explain this? And then take an action towards it. Okay? What does this mean? What do I do about it? How do I take action? So the explanatory style is step number one, which drives everything else. What does this mean? Like when I would have a problem at work, I would say, damn, this is awesome. And people would be like, awesome, it's a problem. I say, yeah, but how do you get raises and promotions? By solving problems. Those people are very valuable and they make a lot of money. People that whine about problems and worry about problems and get tense about problems and talk to their coworkers about their problems, they're not worth a nickel. And when you solve a problem, you feel fantastic, you feel smart, you feel powerful. You know that things can't beat you. You beat things. That's a good feeling. Kind of like when you complete a project. Yeah, I didn't want to, repaint my living room, but then I sit back and I admire it and I go, yeah, that was originally a problem, but I feel pretty damn good about my living room. And I'm not going to have to deal with this for another 10, 20 years, So I can feel good about that or I can feel bad about that. So let's use the painting the living room example again. Do I explain it as, Jesus Christ, it's just another thing I got to do. I got to buy all this paint. I got to get the rollers. It's going to smell for days. And I got to spend my day that I wanted to be, fishing out on my boat or drinking with my buddies or, sitting there watching Netflix and stuff like that. Now I got to paint this damn room. If that is how you explain it, you're going to feel like you were screwed financially, cheated out of your free time, and you've got to do all this excessive labor. Poor you, poor you, poor you. Ugh, it's just going to be horrible. But if you explain it as, hey, for a few bucks and a little bit of my time, I can dramatically increase the value of my house. I can live in a beautiful house until I sell it. I won't have to worry about this for another 20 years. Hey, I was going to have to do this at some point, so why not enjoy it? You sit there with the paint and you feel good you're getting this done. Your wife or significant other is going to be happy that you did all this. You're going to show all your friends. And this is just going to be a wonderful thing. And you're going to have a great sense of accomplishment. And then, hey, you don't have to do it again for many, many years. There's a lot of ways to feel good about things. See, because you're not controlling your mind and you're not listening to your thoughts, they just do whatever they want. And what do they want to do 9 out of 10 times? They want to go to the negative. You better bridle that horse. You better learn some self-control. I'm telling you, the only reason I have peace and serenity in my life, and you probably don't, is because I listen to my brain, I know how to control my brain, and then I simply do it. And it feels so much better than not doing it. I don't worry about anything anymore. I recognize the worry, get immediately into the solution and excited and happy about the solution, and then I immediately take massive action and I just enjoy all the results. That's a much better way to do things and a much better way to explain all the problems in your life. Be very careful how you describe things too. Even simple single syllable words. They teach us in neurolinguistic programming. If you say, oh my God, I can't solve this, it's impossible, your brain says, yes sir, yes ma'am, I'll get right on that. Even if it is possible, because it probably is, I'll make sure it's impossible for you. I'll block out any thought, any possible solution, because you told me you wanted it to be impossible, and it can't be impossible if you're getting slapped upside the head all day long with different solutions. I will block those out for you. Don't worry, I'm your buddy, I'm your pal. I will do exactly what you told me. I will make it impossible. But if you say this is hard, well, all of a sudden now your resources free up. I'd rather say it's a unique challenge. I'd say I'm excited about this problem. I can't wait to start kicking butt and taking names. I used to use phrases like, by the time everybody has finished bitching about this, I'll have already solved it. What does that phrase do? It makes you feel like you're a go-getter, like you're intelligent, like you're powerful, and you solve things. And it also makes it an embarrassment to be those whiners. So now, if you say that phrase just a few times to yourself, every time you catch yourself whining, you're going to be repulsed by that, because that phrase tells you that's what losers do. And every time you don't take action, you're going to kind of feel bad, because that's what winners do. So what do? You use the phrase. In the time it takes everybody else to finish bitching about it, I'll have already solved it. Great phrase. Come up with a bunch of different phrases that you can use like that. But also watch the individual words. And there's a scale. You will feel and you will have the resources of the words that you use. So you go impossible, horrible, difficult, hard, little bit of a problem, I can deal with this easily, I can kick its butt. These are all different levels, and they're all describing the same thing, which is a problem in your life. And I'll tell you, there's no impossible problems. There's almost none. Very few. I mean, you can count them all in one hand, and guess what? Those are the problems you don't have to worry about. Why? Because they're impossible, and you can't do a damn thing. Everything else, it just seems impossible. But in the history of man, and this is the great thing about libraries and Google and AI, somebody has had the problem, somebody has solved the problem, and they've written it down, or they've recorded it in a video like this, and they will tell you. You just have to get really good at searching for it. And boy, does AI, Google, and YouTube make it super easy for you to literally do what people think is the impossible. Always listen to your brain. Be careful how you talk to yourself. Use positive phrases. Ask your brain to help you solve the problem. Sometimes I'll give a problem to my brain because I want my unconscious to solve it. And I'll study a problem. I'll meditate and desire the solution, and then I'll wait to come to me. And sometimes my unconscious mind, which knows 200,000 times as much as my conscious mind, it will pop up the answer when I'm not even thinking about it. I'll see something in a magazine, a YouTube video. Somebody will say something that spurs an idea. I'll see something on TV that gives me the solution. Maybe something in a magazine that I read, but it'll pop up. Why? Because I'm looking for it in the positive, and I'm using the power of my mind. That's the way to use the power of your mind for you. Anxiety is the way to use the power of your mind against you. I just showed you how to free up your mind, and anxiety, its only job is to close your mind and keep you in pain. So, don't listen to it. Hey, if you're loving this content, go ahead and like and subscribe so you get all our great future content. We really appreciate it. It helps to raise us in the search engines, so this shows these types of videos to more people, and more people get help. So thank you for being part of our self-help community. Now, bonus tip for you. Ready? Always look at the way that you're thinking. Remember, the thoughts create the feelings, create the actions. So always have positive philosophies. I used to keep a book, a journal kind of. It was like a binder full of pages and pages and pages of just quotes. They would teach me things, they would motivate me, and they would give me positivity. They reset my brain for positivity. So these are great things to read at the beginning of the day to start the day out right, on the right note. And then during the middle of the day, because you've been hit with a few things, maybe around dinner time, then maybe right before you go to bed, so your brain is in a positive state before you go through that unconscious sleep cycle, and set your emotions in. Set the learning in for the day. And you can learn a lot of great strategies. Now, one that I have is that I look at the meaning of life. And the meaning of life is you were born into this universe. You're not a rock, you're not a tree, you're not a squirrel, you're not this pen. You get to actually have consciousness, the joy of consciousness. If you're anxiety, you're using your consciousness, what's supposed to create joy in your life, to torture yourself and destroy your life. Your only job in life is to feel good, and then maybe to help others like I'm doing here. So if your job is to feel good, your job is literally to suck the most joy out of life, to get rid of anything that detracts from the joy in your life, and bring in everything that creates joy in your life, and to focus on joy in your life, to enjoy everything, even when you think that thing shouldn't be enjoyable. And most people agree with you. That sucks. I don't want to do that thing. You know what my dad would do? And I was fascinated by this. He loved to go to his Uncle Johnny's farm. That was like his favorite thing. And you know what his Uncle Johnny had him doing pretty much every single day? He'd say, Paul, go out there, grab a shovel by the side of the barn and go shovel you some shit. He would have to sit there and shovel for like an hour, hour and a half, horse shit. Now you and I would say, oh God, why is he doing this to me? My Uncle Johnny hates me. This is terrible. This stinks. My shoulders hurt. I got to do this for a whole hour and a half. I'm so bored. This is god awful. Poor me, poor me, poor me. You know what my dad thought? Oh boy, I'm a big boy. I'm out there. I'm helping farm. I'm a real farmer. I'm taking care of my cows. I see these beautiful cows with these big blue eyes, and they're my friends, and they don't want to be sitting in all that shit. You'd help a friend out, right? Yeah, you got to help this cow out. I'm my own boss. I'm out here free, clean, fresh air, and you're saying, Paul, whew, that air can't be that fresh. You know that he loves shoveling shit and being out there and seeing the beauty of nature and hanging out with his pet cows so much. It was so relaxing for him. And this is a very meditative thing. It's, you know, you're just doing a repetitive motion and you're enjoying the blue skies and the sunshine, watching the birds in the trees, stopping to pet a cow occasionally. Oh my God, he loved it. Matter of fact, and I couldn't figure out why this was, as we were driving up to the farm, you know, it was many years later, now he's all grown up and has his own kids. We would get close to the farm, and I mean, you're probably a half mile down the road and you go, Jesus, what's that? And my dad would go, perfume. And he'd make this funny face. Oh, perfume. Heifer dust. And I'm like, what the heck is heifer dust? Well, heifer's another word for cow. And the dust is when the shit literally settles, it dries out, and some of that releases, and it becomes dust in the air. And that's why you can smell it when the wind blows a half mile or so down the road. He's so associated, the smell of heifer dust, hello, we're talking about shit. He's so associated it with his childhood and being with his Uncle Johnny and being with the cows and being out in fresh air and being a real farmer that when he smelled that, his face would light up like it was Christmas. It was just a very positive association. Not because the thing was inherently positive. Hello, we're shoveling shit. But he loved it. And that's the beauty of thinking about things the right way, the way that empowers you. Because he could have thought either way. The choice is up to you. This is a shit job and I hate it and anybody would hate it and therefore I should feel like shit while I'm shoveling shit. Or this is me being my own boss, fresh air, helping my cows out, helping my Uncle Johnny out, being a real man, enjoying the beauty of nature and just having a nice meditative practice for something I got to do anyways. Why not enjoy the beauty of it? That's a second way to think. Now, life doesn't care which one you pick. But I guarantee the experience that you have will be 100% dependent on it. My name is Professor Paul. Go ahead and like and share, and I'll see you in my very next training. Thanks for being here. Thanks for using these techniques. And please do me a favor, share these techniques with as many people as possible. And if you have any questions or anything, go ahead and write them in the comments below. We love to hear from you. I love to answer those and respond to those. And if you got any special topics you want to hear in the future, go ahead and put them in the comments below. See you later.